This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
He is a former naval aviator turned novelist, Kevin Miller, on this edition of Conversations. Retired U.S. Navy Captain Kevin Miller posted an impressive military career with numerous overseas deployments, a host of combat awards, and over 1,000 carrier landings. Miller served as a squadron commander as well as working at the Pentagon, his place of employment on September the 11th, 2001. His experiences make him more than qualified to write a book about military operations. Recently, Miller decided to use his vast knowledge and experience to introduce readers to life on an aircraft carrier. In his fictional story, Raven 1, Captain Miller does more than discuss the nuts and bolts of carrier operations and brings to life the personalities, challenges, and conflicts of those serving while on deployment in combat. Raven 1 is Miller's debut novel, and we're pleased to have him on this edition of Conversations. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Wrote a book. I'm curious, why make it a novel as opposed to maybe autobiographical?
Well, after I retired, a friend said, you should write a book. And I said, well, okay, I saw some action, but my career wasn't all that remarkable compared to many of my friends. And he says, no, you have stories. And so I wanted to, explore, lots of different areas, and some that I had experienced personally and some that I had not. Mm-hmm. And to show the public, what it is like to be out there, and it's the interpersonal human story is a big part of that.
Yeah. Let me back up. Tell me how your career began. I'm assuming started off as a naval officer and went from there. So give me your resume.
I am the son and grandson of naval officers. I'm the first aviator in my family, okay. And so, growing up, I was exposed to naval aviation. I said, that looks cool. I want to do that. So I got a commission through the ROTC program at the University of Mississippi and came down here in November of 1981 to begin my journey. And I started flying at Whiting Field and soloed there, and from there went to Naval Air Station in Meridian, Mississippi, and got my wings, and then to the fleet. And I started out in the A-7E Corsair II. In Jacksonville, Florida, and I spent my entire operational career in Jacksonville.
Okay. What's it like? I mean, so many of us are on the Gulf Coast. We know that, the Gulf Coast is the cradle of naval aviation. So what's it like for a young man or a young woman when they first step foot into this area and start that program?
Well, it was, there's the daunting fear, I guess, maybe that's a strong word, but okay, this is flight school, and quickly realized it's a lot harder than college. I mean, I went to it's not like I went to Harvard or anything,
right.
But we studied hard, obviously. But quickly the camaraderie of my classmates, and then when we started flying out at Whiting Field, and we'd go to the beach on weekends, and we'd go out to dinner together. But then we were studying hard and trying to make the grade. Yeah. So hitting that grade and the camaraderie, the friendships began very early.
Yeah. And once you finished flight school and went on, now you were deployed. Tell me more about that.
I made 5 major deployments in my career, all to the Mediterranean, and most of them also to the Indian Ocean. We would go through the Suez Canal and spend time in the Indian Ocean and Persian Gulf. But all of my deployments originated in the Atlantic Fleet. I'm an East Coast guy my whole life. Never deployed to the Western Pacific. Each deployment, 6-7 months, and this was during the 80s and 90s. Lots of time spent flying over Bosnia, mm-hmm. back in the no-fly zone, and after Desert Storm, flying over southern Iraq throughout the 90s.
Mm-hmm. What's it like? What would the average person be most surprised about? Because I guess we have perhaps in our head this Top Gun type scenario, but what's it really like?
It's a great movie, isn't it?
It is a great movie, but is it real?
Yes and no, and there's some great scenes in Top Gun, but I think what people would be surprised is the level of preparation, the intensity of the training, and it's just you in that airplane, and the airplane doesn't care who's flying it, right. So you have to be ready, And we brief the heck out of everything we do to the nth degree. We go fly the brief, and then we come back and we debrief it to the nth degree. And I've been on many flights that maybe last 45 minutes, and you come back and you'll spend an hour and a half talking about every little thing you did in that flight. That's how you learn and get better.
What's the average, just the average when you take off an aircraft carrier, how long would you be out? Now you said like 45 minutes in one case, but just on average, how long would you be out flying?
An hour and a half to 2 hours. Okay. And much of that time is, I say much, a significant part of that time is just waiting to land. Okay. You know, there's only one place to land, so you know you have to kind of conserve your fuel and have a cushion, because sometimes you may not be able to land for whatever reason.
Right. And you have like 1,000 carrier landings, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What is it like to land on an aircraft carrier? Take me through it.
Yes, pretty intense. I remember my first one. It was on USS Lexington. Mm-hmm. We were off Key West, and flying out in formation, and you know, just seeing that small ship down there, and then, but once we, you know, dropped our gear and flaps and turned off the beam, and our training took over. And so, you know, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're flying the meatball, as we say. Mm-hmm. Once I got on deck, wow, this is pretty small. Right. But there was a sailor there that was motioning me ahead and sent me right to the catapult. Within 2 minutes, I've been catapulted off and turned down and do it again. So you're kind of hanging on. At night, I remember that vividly. And that was also USS Lexington, right off the coast of Pensacola. And we had to take off from the ship on a black night and then turn downwind at 4 miles and then land. And I was just behind the airplane the whole time. I couldn't, oh my gosh, what is going on here? And then after I had, you know, cracked the code on that first one, they came easier.
Yeah. Are you ever totally comfortable doing it, or are you just always on edge?
It's good to have a certain degree of on edge. And yes, I think that toward the end of my career, you know, hundreds of carrier landings, okay, I'm confident I can do this day or night, but you do have to get yourself up, and you do have to, you know, to sit by yourself. I would do this, you know, before each flight, and just spend a few minutes imagining myself, you know, on that carrier landing. And I think it's like a golfer, you know, envisioning a putt, a baseball player, you know, envisioning the pitch. It's the same type of intensity.
I can imagine, and I've talked to a lot of naval aviators over the years, and they all say it's a level of intensity that most of us will probably never experience. And I can only imagine. Let's talk a little bit about the book. So you decide you're going to write the book. So tell me about some of the characters. Who's the main character in Raven 1?
Main character is Lieutenant Commander James Flip Wilson. And he is a department head in my imaginary squadron, the Ravens, and he's a FA-18 pilot. And he has a terrific commanding officer who he really admires. And his executive officer is not such a nice guy. And he's making Flip's life pretty hard. And underneath Flip are a bunch of junior pilots, you know, and they're in their 20s, they're men and women, and they have their own issues, you know. And it's a human story of people that are flawed, as we all are. And but we have to get along in close quarters in a squadron like that, and then there's an enemy over the horizon you have to deal with.
How did you go about developing the character of Flip? Is it based on someone, or is it just based on a combination of many?
A combination, and all the characters, I would say, are based on combination. There's, you know, my executive officer character is a pretty bad guy. Right. And I never surged with the guy anywhere near like that. I mean, now we all have our moments. Sure. But so I just made a character that's just pretty bad, yeah. and so it's kind of easy to use that character as a foil.
Yeah. What's so bad about him?
I think he's hard on his people. He expects, and he screams and yells at his people, and expects from them what he himself cannot deliver. He himself is not prepared. He himself is not trying to be a good teammate. And so that's what people end up presenting.
Yeah. What are some of the conflicts that the characters encounter in Raven 1?
Well, there's the that conflict that I just mentioned there, but there's also the conflict of the elements. I mean, there's a scene in there where the carrier is in a storm, and it's it's a 100,000 ton ship, but Mother Nature, can make it bob like a cork.
Right.
And you have to get people aboard in a tough situation, and now we talk about pride. Why are we trying to land this young aviator in these conditions? Why don't we maybe bingo him or divert him to a shore station and we can be safer? But no, we can do this. We can get him aboard, and so those are the types of things that happen. Meanwhile, the fuel gauge is going down minute by minute, and decisions have to be made right now. You have to move pride out of that, and take care of the young guy right now.
And so that's a very real situation that could easily happen, right?
Yes, and I've been on both sides of that situation.
So you've been on both sides when you're running out of fuel in questionable weather. And
I've been in the cockpit of that airplane running out of fuel, and the ship's not cooperating, and it can pitch, and sometimes you fly in a great landing, but the deck pitches so much they just can't take you. Wow. And I've also been in the air traffic control center, advising the ship or the air wing commander about one of my pilots, when I was a commanding officer, and how we should treat him right then.
What do you do in a situation like that when the ship can't take you, but maybe you're too far offshore for an alternate landing place and you're low on fuel? What are your options?
Well, fuel does drive everything, and there are tankers, and we always have an aircraft that's outfitted with what we call a buddy store. Okay. And it has a hose that we can extend in the airstream and get a little drink of gas, maybe 2,000 pounds of gas. Okay. And that 2,000 pounds will last roughly 20 minutes, just to give you a sense. So now you have another 20 minutes, and in that 20 minutes you might get at night flying that pattern 1, 2, maybe 3 extra tries to land.
Wow. How do you prepare for something like that? How do you stay mentally prepared for something like that?
Contingency planning and training is the other thing, and our training is superb. And so we practiced and practiced and practiced in simulators at the field. We talk about it in the debriefs. Okay, if this happens, we can do this, this, and this. And so you've already kind of gone through it. When it does happen, so you can draw on that right away. Sometimes things come up, though, that you have to audible right then. Mm-hmm. I think that everyone's training, and everyone's trying to do the right thing, of course. Things typically work out.
Yeah. I'm curious, and this is something that can be applied not only in this situation, but just in life in general. What do you think the secret is, just staying calm and saying, okay, I'm going to revert back to my training. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, as opposed to just, I don't know, for lack of a better term, freaking out, so to speak. What's the key to that?
Training. And just, by the time you get to an aircraft carrier on the other side of the world on deployment, you've probably been flying for about 3 years at least. And so, you've been in some semi-tight situations, and you know what to do. You're talking to the old guys about listening to their sea stories. One night I found myself here, and this is what I did, and you learn from that. So the training that you get, and then the confidence that you've made the grade is going to get you through.
Yeah, you wrote this book, and as we mentioned before, it's a novel. But I got the impression that you wanted folks who are non-military folks to really have a taste of what it was like. So what is the non-military person going to take away from Raven 1?
I think they're going to see the level of training and preparation. Mm-hmm. You watch Top Gun, which is a wonderful movie, and okay, we're going to kick the tires and light the fires, and off we go. But there are hours and hours of briefing. Just briefing doesn't even count the hours and hours of preparation that, okay, we're going to fly these airplanes in a formation, and we're going to get to our objective within seconds, like less than 5 seconds of when we plan. So imagine flying from here to Cleveland. And let's say, imagine driving from here to Cleveland, mm-hmm. and then you're going to pull into a certain suburban home, we'll identify one, within 5 seconds of the time that you plan. That is what we're talking about.
Precision.
Yes.
Absolute precision. Interesting. I mentioned in the intro you were at the Pentagon on September the 11th, 2001. What was that day like?
Beautiful late summer day, just another day. I was working in in the Navy Strategy and Policy Office. I was wearing my khaki uniform, as we all were. One of my coworkers said, "Hey, come here, New York airplane." So I go in, I see the first tower and the smoke and flame there, and my initial impression was, okay, well, this is like when that Army bomber flew into the Empire State Building 70, 80 years ago. I mean, this is a mishap.
Right.
And then went back to my desk. A few minutes later, another friend said, "Hey, the second airplane, hit the South Tower." So I go look at that tape, and I knew that this is different. And I remember telling my boss, "This means war, and we're next." So I went back to my desk, and I'm sitting at my desk, and simultaneously, it was a shock wave coming from my left to right. Papers on my desk kind of moved as if blown by some breeze, kind of bumped in my chair, and it was a whoom, and then silence. And we got up from a little cubicle city in the Pentagon where I was in, kind of looked at each other and said, "Okay, turn off our computers," and we just exited the building, and it was like exiting a sporting event. It was quiet. I remember some ladies weeping. But we just exited in an orderly manner, and we got outside, and a beautiful spring day, and you could see the summer day, you could see the black fuel-fed smoke from where the aircraft went in. We were about 80 yards away from impact, and so the aircraft went in. It hit the ground first and then slid into the building. We were up on the 4th deck around one of the corners of the Pentagon. And so we saw a 3-star admiral, and so we kind of gravitated to him, and he didn't really know what to do either. He's bewildered just like us. And then we heard a thump, and this is and you've seen this on video of the top floor collapsing in the Pentagon. So he just told us, "Disperse." Just then, a cop yelled, "Get out of here! Another one's coming." And this was Flight 93. So one of us had a car in south parking, and 4 of us piled in. On the way home, we listened to the radio reports from New York. The World Trade Center is destroyed. We just couldn't believe it. One of us had this modern invention called the mobile phone in 2001. Mm-hmm. And we were able to finally get through after quite some time to our families. And it was about 3 hours for us to get home. We lived, most of us, in Northern Virginia, about 15 miles away from the building.
What was it like being military personnel during that time after it happened? What was the atmosphere like?
Very, very tense. And on September 12th, I put on my white uniform, and we went to the Navy Annex up the hill from the Pentagon. Pentagon was still burning. The night before, I had found out that I lost 6 of my friends. And so I was assigned to be the escort officer of one of my friends, Captain Bob Dolan, and met with his family that afternoon. In the next several months, Washington was had combat air patrol overhead the city 24/7, and a military fighter has that very low guttural rumble. There's a different engine than an airliner engine, and I'd wake up at 3 in the morning and hear one of those things overhead. I'm sure it's like a mother hearing a baby in the other room, a familiar noise. I remember that throughout the rest of 2001.
Mm. As we tape this program, the terrorism attack just recently happened in Paris. How much danger is the world in today?
Significant, I believe, and I believe that we, Western society, if you will, must come to grips with the nature of the threat that we face, and I think that we have to face it and not wish it away. Now we can, certainly we need to pray, but we also need to act. And I think that the United States is in a position as a world leader to using many means, and not only military means, but there are many means to address this threat that we face and admit that it is there and it must be dealt with.
Yeah. One of the things that you've done in your career is leadership consulting. What makes a great leader?
I think the willingness to do what you're asking your people to do, and the willingness to listen to people, and no one screws up on purpose, but things happen. And so when things don't go quite the way you wanted, you have to say, okay, how did this happen? And what can we do the next time to get better? And that's what I taught, is, when you have an evolution like a sales meeting, we're going to go on a sales meeting. So let's prepare. Let's you and I figure out, okay, who is going to say what when? What points do we really want to make with this customer? And then kind of walk yourself through it, just like we did in a squadron. And then you go to the sales meeting, and you, because you've talked it out, you have the sales meeting, you know what you want to say. Then when it's over, you come back, just the two of us. We'll say, okay, now remember when he said that then? Yeah. Okay, well, next time we should say this, and that really would have helped us. Okay, good. And you might make the sale, and okay, well, let's capture those lessons learned so we can do that again. If you didn't make the sale, all right, well, we didn't do so well that time. How can we make this better next time? And then get back up on the horse.
Would it be accurate to say that many people in business are afraid to debrief?
Yes,
maybe they brief, but they don't debrief.
They are afraid.
And why is that?
I think there's fear of someone might take it wrong.
Rejection.
Yes, and okay, here's something that didn't go quite right, and we're looking at each other in the running lights here, and so that person might be offended, and in a squadron, that's just daily occurrence. Okay, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this, and we're human beings, and we know we're not perfect. We know that. So let's identify the flaws that both of us made. Let's admit it to ourselves, even as a flight lead, as a senior. Okay, a mistake. I'm going to do better. I'm going to work on that next time. The Blue Angels do this on a regular basis, and I got to fly with the Blue Angels once. It was pretty cool. And watching them in the brief, and it was just like being in a seance, and you could see the pilots as the boss goes over the maneuvers. The pilots just have their eyes closed, and they can just imagine themselves, again, imagining themselves, being successful like that. And then the debrief, the 45-minute show in front of the crowd, and then you sign autographs. But they come back and they'll spend an hour and a half overgoing every little thing. Nothing is missed. They're always striving for perfection. They're never going to hit it, but they're trying.
And the interesting thing about that is to the average spectator, it looks like they're perfect every time.
Yes, it's the greatest thing they ever saw, and they are good. But they'll find little flaws that even I can't detect, with my experience in the airplane, and they'll go over it and they'll work to correct it every time.
Yeah. I think that's a very interesting point, is the debrief. If you're the leader of an organization, how do you set the stage to make your team feel comfortable being honest with each other?
You have to be honest with yourself and admit, okay, I made this mistake. And so it takes time. It can be done. Cultures can be changed. Civilian cultures like this. I think that the leader is going to just keep trying. Okay, I made this mistake here, and after a while, I'll say, well, okay, maybe I could have done this a little differently next time. Okay, good. Also, we don't say you. We say the third person. All right, well, here's a best practice for the salesman. A salesman in this situation can make this point at this time, and that is, you're not going to be defensive instead of, being attacked.
Yeah. I've asked this question to a lot of business people, a lot of leaders over the years. What's the difference between a leader and a manager?
Leaders inspire. And it doesn't mean that leaders should not manage. They have to manage resources, and there are certainly management tools to do that. But to walk around and say, okay, hey, how are you doing? What can I help you with? What do you need? And you see this, and certainly there are some civilians quite successful that do this. I think it's a hallmark, though, of the military management, by walking around and really taking care of your people.
You mentioned talking about the way the military does things. What's the best nugget someone can take from the way the military runs their operations?
I think that they ask for input from their people. You may have seen movies and you think, well, the military is screaming and yelling and drop and give me 50.
Right.
It's not like that at all. It's hey Jeff, what do you think?
Right.
And so a senior officer could ask you that, and you can formulate an opinion and say, okay, and maybe, all right, Jeff, let's try it your way. We're going to fly this flight, and you have an idea how to do it better. So let's have you in the lead this time, and lead us through, and we'll see how it goes. How do you
give people that you are leading the confidence to step up How do you boost them? Because so many people may have great ideas, but they're afraid they're going to be rejected, so they don't move forward with it.
Well, at one point, as you begin, you're a follower, you're a wingman, and okay, your job is to fly a wing and do a good job of that, and you get qualified to do that. But okay, as time passes and people move on, now it's your turn to be the lead. And so tomorrow morning at 0800, we expect you to brief and lead a flight. And so you'll be prepared because you don't want to embarrass yourself and make the squadron look bad. So the pressure's on, and people rise to the occasion.
Yeah, it's amazing if you give them an opportunity what folks will
Yes.
do. Yeah. Well, Raven 1 is your first novel. Any more?
Yes. I'm working on a sequel, and we're going to promote Flip and some other characters, and we'll go to another part of the world.
Okay.
And I want to explore another area of geopolitics, but also just to explore some other personality flaws that we all have, and in this big overarching picture of a squadron on deployment.
Yeah. I'm just curious, when you sit down to write, what's it like? What's your approach to doing it? Because writing a novel is totally different than writing a news story or magazine or something, nonfiction.
They say 1,000 words a day is what you should do, and I don't always do 1,000 words a day, but 1,000 words a day. And what is 1,000 words? I think it's a way to characterize that is the equivalent of a 4 to 5 page high school report every day. Now, are your palms sweaty? Thinking about that. I found in writing the dialogue portions of the book, sometimes that I would just go off on an area that I really had no idea. Oh, I'm not sure how we got here, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
So that has been interesting.
Let the creativity flow. Well, best of luck on the next book.
Thanks so much.
This one's called Raven 1. It's the debut novel for Kevin Miller. Available at Amazon, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Very good. And we'll certainly give you an inside look of what life is like on an aircraft carrier. And of course, as we mentioned here in the program, Kevin has lots and lots of experience in the military and has been deployed many times and over 1,000 carrier landings. So he knows what he talks about, and he's put it in the form of a novel. And I think you'll find it interesting. It's called Raven 1 by Kevin Miller. By the way, you can see many more of our conversations online, WSRE.org/conversations. You can also find us on YouTube and Facebook. I'm Jeff Weeks. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Take great care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.
For this program is provided in part by these corporate sponsors. And by viewers like you.